Hello, my name's Dr. Hartley. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AFT Pharmaceuticals. And today we'll be talking about Maxigesic IV intravenous infusion. We're often asked about what is the reason behind the development of Maxigesic. What we wanted to do is to develop a stronger analgesic without the need for going to an opioid. It has been quite a problem around the world, as we're all pretty well aware of, the opioid epidemic in the United States. However, it isn't just the US. In fact, it does affect many parts of the world. Even down here in Australia and New Zealand, we're around about number 8 on the global pecking order in terms of per capita use of opioid analgesics. In the drug development of Maxigesic, we've done a number of clinical studies that look and compare the efficacy of the Maxigesic combination versus the individual components, being paracetamol alone or ibuprofen alone. What we've shown in these studies is the pain relief that Maxigesic IV gives you is much greater than either of the individual ingredients by themselves. What we've also looked at is the effect of risky medication. What we've been able to show is the combination Maxigesic results in the use of less risky medication. The risky medication that we used in our studies was an opioid. So therefore the studies are showing that when you use Maxigesic combination, you need less risky medication, less opioid, than when you're using either of the individual components. So Maxigesic IV, for example, is paracetamol 1000 milligrams and ibuprofen 300 milligrams, and that's at a specific 3.3 to 1 ratio. We've looked at a lot of studies, and what we see is that as the ratio changes and goes towards 2 to 1, you actually lose the synergy between the active ingredients. A lot of people also ask, how do we know there's actually synergy with Maxigesic? What we do know is if we look at animal studies, we see that there is genuine synergy between paracetamol and ibuprofen, and that when you combine the two active ingredients, you actually get a large shift in the dose response curve, larger than you would predict, and this is consistent with a synergistic effect. It is possible, for example, to give paracetamol followed by ibuprofen, followed by paracetamol again, etc. So paracetamol is often given 4 times a day and ibuprofen 3 times a day. So it is possible to alternate them. Now, there are a number of important considerations with alternating. First and foremost, there is actually one main study that looks at this, and actually when you look at the data, it doesn't show that alternating works. So in fact, the concept of synergy would suggest that it is important to give the two ingredients together at the same time. The other factor that is important is that if you're alternating in, say, a hospital setting, that involves a lot more nursing time and a lot more administration. If then you're in a home setting when the patient has transitioned to the tablet or the oral dose form, that is actually also very complicated, and it's pretty difficult for the patient to actually remember exactly what they're doing when they're trying to give a medicine literally 7 times a day and switch from one to the other, whereas Maxigesic avoids the potential for confusion and makes the whole dosing regimen much simpler. Actually, you shouldn't do that and can't do that because they're too precipitate. So paracetamol and ibuprofen are actually quite different molecules in terms of solubility in water, and the Maxigesic formulation is specially designed to allow the two to exist at the same time in solution. So obviously a key factor is you're only giving an intravenous dose of any drug to a patient that can't take an oral drug. With Maxigesic, we have Maxigesic IV and Maxigesic tablets. Both are actually the same strength. So Maxigesic IV is 1,000 milligrams of paracetamol and 300 milligrams of ibuprofen. Maxigesic tablets are 500 milligrams of paracetamol and 150 milligrams of ibuprofen. So effectively 2 tablets is the same as 1 vial of Maxigesic IV. We've also done pharmacokinetic studies that show that the area under the curve, or the exposure for both paracetamol and ibuprofen in both Maxigesic IV and Maxigesic tablets, is actually the same. This makes it very simple to switch from IV to oral, and that really is often one of the most important things in getting a patient discharged out to home care. Being able to switch readily and easily from the IV dose form to the oral dose form. What we're doing is we're getting regulatory approval in a number of countries around the world. Presently we have approval in over 40 countries, and also the product has been launched presently as well and has been sold in about 19 countries. We have, for example, sales in places like Australia, France, Germany and South Korea as well. Later on this year we would expect to gain approval from the US FDA and be able to launch in the United States.